hello. Let's see here, Alright, let's get into the economy. This is the part 4, I think, or 5 of the creating a strategy video game. And I think this will be the last one, unless there's more interest. But let's see here. The economy. It would be fun to allow the player to create his own economy. Maybe the economy can be a system that drastically changes based on the difficulty mode. In a hardcore difficulty mode, you could allow the player to engage in modern finance. You could allow the player to mint coins of any metal and any purity. For instance, I hear the coins of Sardis had a very high purity. I hear at one point that England used sticks for money, right? And that might sound silly, but it's like if it's backed by the military, if a money source is backed by the military, then you could use anything. I think that's the idea. So you could have a game that allows player choice for the economic system that he wants to set up. One of the funny things to me about all this is that if you look at historical analysis and in modern times, and you tried to analyze history with moral eyesight, then I believe that most historians would laugh you out of the room. The idea that you can read history through a moral lens is just simply not accepted. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't like reading modern intellectuals. But if it is true that morality is not accepted as a basis for historical interpretation, I've heard the saying many times that a society that has high purity coins is going to be a society that of high morality. Now, I would probably disagree with that statement. I mean, it sounds very pious and good, but just because their coins are pure doesn't mean that they have just law. It would mean that they would be a trustworthy government, right? There is some sort of trust going on there, but not all trust is necessarily the same, right? So you could have like if you think about gangsters could mint their own highly pure coins, and there's a certain trust because gangsters live by code, and because they live by code, there's definitely a certain trust that's built there. But that's not going to necessarily mean that just because someone's minting pure coins that they have just law. But I think definitely I think it would tend to be the case that a just system would have more pure coins in it. But all this is funny because even though a moral view of history is condemned, you still hear this saying that high purity coins means a more pure society and leadership, or leadership. And yet they're able to say this even though this would be history viewed through a moral lens, right? So we have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of money, right? In a just society, money is simply a tool. Okay, so this gets into the difference between how you want to run your society. Do you want to run it with just laws? And this comes to the strategy game, right? We're talking about if you're running a strategy game, do you want to run it with just laws, or do you want to burn down wooden villages? And we'll get to that in a bit. But if you have a just society, money is just simply a tool, right? The question from here is that if you have freedom turned on, how would that affect your personal finances, right? So again, we're playing a game here, and if you turn on a just society, you're still going to have your personal finances, but your personal finances are not going to come through the normal revenue. So it's like now you're going to have to actually compete with your NPCs, I think, if you had a just society. How dare they try to overthrow you, right? In any other system of government, then you as the leader are going to be making money from haha this way or haha that way. In a free society, you as the leader are going to lose some haha powers. If you want to think of this from a programming perspective, then money generation usually comes from taxation and legal tricks. So again, this would be strategy games that allow you to do laws. But in a free society, your stupid NPCs have overthrown you, right? And of course, there's going to be different types of laws, right? You're going to have different forms of government, monarchy, republic, and democracy. A real quick note on republic. All republics before the United States were aristocratic. So that's the only distinction between monarchy, republic, and democracy that actually makes sense. Because, I mean, a republic that is direct vote of the people is just democracy by another name, right? So, so in a way, we've always had kind of a democracy. I think the founding fathers, if you look at their original constitution, I think they meant for the states to be like an aristocratic institution, and by turning the states into an aristocratic institution, you are putting checks on a centralized power. Period, I guess. So I think that's why they were able to call it a republic. But in a video game like this, I think, just for clarity's sake, you would need to be more clear. And now, of course, this is a game that likes to mess with words, so the player could do whatever he wants with words, but the programmer needs to know the distinction between these words. And so for a programmer, a republic is more aristocratic in nature than a democracy. Your stupid NPCs have overthrown you. Where am I? No. Legal tricks, yeah, but in a free society, your stupid NPCs have overthrown you. Therefore, the player would have to make money by actually competing against his own NPCs, right? So this is kind of a fluid game, right? If we look at you being totally defeated in war, but maintaining identity, this would be the gameplay changing until you reassert your authority if you can. So that means you can lose your authority but keep your identity, but never regain your authority and lose your identity and then lose the game. This would have to happen to some extent with a change to a free society. So the gameplay would change to some extent with a free society. Again, we don't want to make it too complex for the player, so there would be difficulty there for the programmer. But like maybe you could keep the same page, but change the page, or like turn things on and off on the page of your personal economy page or something. But yeah, yeah, and we'll get into this in a bit. But this, again, by turning on complexity, makes this strategy game more like chess than it does like checkers, and we'll get into that in a bit. This would have to happen to some extent with a change to a free society, because the player would, to some degree, lose his lawmaking abilities. A new screen which allows you to influence the laws could pop up. So you could still influence the laws, but you no longer have um, absolute authority over those laws. A new screen which allows you to influence. This could also happen with the economy. I don't know what I was meaning by that sentence. If you now have to compete with your NPCs, then maybe a new system of money generation could occur. Okay, so if you're, in a monarchy, your system of generation will be with the laws you set up with your lords and your peasants. If it's a democracy, then it's the laws that you set up with the manufacturers, the producers, the financiers, and the peasants, and so on and so forth. So from a programming perspective, there's a lot of crossover between monarchy, republic, and democracy. But a society with just laws would change everything. Da-dum, da-dum. Okay, now here we go. What are the purposes of the economy? Okay, the purposes of the economy are to build your military, right? To also build whatever. Number 3 is for networking and alliances, right? So if you're a monarch, then you're going to be allied with your lords. If you're in democracy, you're allied with corporations, right? So, and then killing identity, right? Because this is a game about that's killing identity would be if you're going for a particular type of win, right? If you're going for the justice win, then you'd be maintaining identity, but having a brotherhood of freedom all over the galaxy, and that would be difficult to achieve. If we look at these goals, all can be achieved. Okay, if we look at these goals, all can be attained without money. If you turn fanaticism on, then for a time people will work for free, right? So, and maybe not under all conditions. Let's say you're attacked and you turn fanaticism on. Well, for a few turns or whatever, they're gonna be working for free, right? Because they have to survive against this attack. Laws can be designed to extract wealth from the people without their knowledge, or with their knowledge, but they can't do anything about it. But that'll make them discontent. Okay, work and or money, ha ha ha. Right, so again, this completely changes the economy, right? Because the economy in most strategy games is really just business administration, right? Are there any other purposes? Like, can you think of other purposes to the game? This also builds on the idea of the player as the lawgiver, right? I think most strategy games have the economy as business administration. This is boring. This would make the economy a game of simple addition and subtraction. And addition and subtraction can be, kind of cute and fun for a time. And this game would have addition and subtraction in it, right? So, fun. In the economy that I am conceptualizing, the economy has ulterior motive, giving the game a bit more complexity. The economy in strategy games today is a lot like checkers. Ulterior motive turns it into chess, I believe, right? So, I think there are some strategy games that do talk about influence, but like in this game, we're combining the economy and influence, right? So, um, and we're like bringing in sociology. So, your NPCs are going to be behaving in certain ways. And the ways that they're going to be behaving is going to be largely dependent on the laws that are created, right? So um, 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 so if you have bad laws, then the people are going to be behaving badly. So that's going to affect everything, right? That's going to affect production. That's going to affect research time. That's going to affect morale, warfare morale. Like you have to think about warfare morale. Um, in the economy. Okay, so let's bring in some examples. For instance, if you want to kill someone's identity, then you could get into business with them and purposely engineer the failure of the business in order to bankrupt them, right? By bankrupting them, they lose identity influence. But you also lose some money too, right? Until an economic tech is achieved which allows you to profit at both ends, right? So there's the advancement in society of technology, and there's the advancement in society of either morality or evil, right? um, if you live in a village made of wood, right, and these are all terrible examples. I don't know, my mind, I guess that shows where my mind is. I didn't give examples of just law, right? If you live in a village made of wood and you want to upgrade to stone, then this would require a lot of work, right? Work, period. That's all it does, okay? It does not require any money, okay? People need to understand this because people are so focused on money in our day. And that's why some of these strategy games are really boring when it comes to the economy. It does not take any money to upgrade your village from wood to stone. Okay, it takes work, period. That's it. That's very simple, but it's complicated by jerks in our world, intellectual jerks. Work, not money. Money is one way to upgrade from wood to stone, right? But you could start a devastating fire that burns down half the village. Not only do you heroically work to put out the fire, after the fire is out, you give a heroic speech that this is an opportunity for a brighter future, yada yada, right? Um, Now this would work for a few turns, right? For a few turns, they would be like, yeah, we need to build to stone, but eventually they're going to be like, because to upgrade to stone is a lot of work. And eventually they're going to be like, no, we could just do this more slowly over time, and you want to do it more quickly. So for a few turns, you're going to be able to extract a lot of transition to stone, especially to build the reparts that have been burnt. But eventually they'll turn against you, and then you'll have to pay for the stone, right? So all of the work can't be done, or I mean, a lot of the work is still going to have to be done with money, right? And if you keep if you keep doing the tyranny and manipulation, then your population will turn on you, and you'll get permadeath. Manipulation and tyranny is balanced by discontent. Freedom and justice would be balanced by military weakness and weakness to manipulation of your population by foreign powers. Right, because a free society lets anybody in, and the foreign powers are going to send in their manipulators and try to tear your society out from the inside if you have a free society. But let's give a quick example about freedom, I guess. Like, and this would be why. Like, I already gave a reason why they're militarily weak, because all their neighbors will eventually attack them. Because your influence is actually going to be greater, but their influence is going to be insidious. But your influence can really only happen when they get to know who you are, and that can only happen after you conquer them militarily. So if you conquer them militarily, then you can start to talk to their people and be like, hey, we're about justice and freedom. And they're going to be like, oh, wow, we thought you were the evil guys. So once that military victory happens, they're going to be able to spread their freedom and justice and turn people against your identity. So there is definitely a military strength, but then again, you're just going to be constantly attacked by all your neighbors. But here's another military weakness to freedom and justice. I think, like, let's say you start the game out and you're like, hey, we need to start building leather, just in case just in case we get attacked, right? And they're gonna be like, no, we don't want to, right? So this is not your usual game where you can just order people around. Zug zug. Eventually you can get them to zug zug, but at first they're going to be like, hey, screw you. We haven't been attacked in a long time, or for whatever reason, they're not going to want to upgrade their, military capabilities to all leather defense. So, but, they might want to build a temple, right? Because they're all about, peace and love and brotherhood. They're not really about, conquering and being jerks. And so, but they might want to build a temple, or they might want to build a road. Like, oh my god, like they're free. Then they're like, hey, let's build a road from here to here, right? So that would be like, I mean, there's so would be some definite, I think, advantages. But they're militarily weak because they're not going to be upgrading themselves, right? Although their research time is going to go up. So now once they're attacked, then they can start to build their military. But the opposing players can if they're smart, can just not attack them for a long time, build up their military, and just come in and devastate them. But this is also a game where killing your buildings is not going to kill your people, right? Because it's all about identity. Your people could run into, like, all your free people could run into the forests or the mountains or to a neighboring tribe, and then they can be like, hey, we need to take our place back, and they're going to work, and you're going to be able to build up a big military to retake your place. But then and then maybe fight the people who did attack you to a certain extent, but they're not going to want to destroy those people, right? Because again, these are good, just people. So, but again, not once freedom and justice is turned on, then military upgrades are going to most likely be turned off or down. So that would be another example of military weakness. Anyways, this sounds like a fun game, and I'm done for now. I mean, these are just concepts. I think I'm going to go through just for fun and try to play a game in my head. But then I need other, like I do esoteric books, and I write stories, and so that's my main thing. But anybody can take this information and make a game from it. And if anybody wants me to help out, then I'll drop everything, and this sounds like a fun game. But yeah, no, definitely take this information and make of it what you want. But I think this would bring a lot of innovation to strategy games. So that is all. Have a good day.